Hey, what's up, everybody? Mr. Eric here. It's been a while, I know. I kind of had a lot of stuff going on for a little bit. Had some big life changes happening with job changes and things like that. And honestly, the headphone stuff just kind of had to be pushed to the side for a little bit. And, actually, I think that was kind of a good thing because really I was letting it become a burden in my life, which defeats the whole purpose of having nice headphones and equipment and things like that. Because the whole point of it is that you're enjoying yourself listening to it and enjoying the equipment you have. And I got to a point where I wasn't, and I was piling on all this equipment, and I was trying to do things like take measurements and do those binaural recordings. And I got some good feedback on it and people seem to appreciate that, but to be honest with you, it was just too much and I wasn't enjoying it. So, had to take a step back. I did want to give an update though, because some people have, asked me about certain headphones that I've picked up and things like that, and I kind of wanted to let everybody just know where I ended up with all of this stuff. And so here we are. Now, this isn't a review or anything like that. It's just kind of like, where did I land after trying, probably something like 24 different headphones or maybe even more, and a handful of different amps and things like that. So I've been through a lot of equipment in the last few months, and I just wanted to give you some updates and perspectives on how I went about doing that, what I would do differently, and maybe just some advice for you if you're on the hunt for your, ideal set of headphones or ideal amp or ideal DAC or anything along those lines. So first off, what equipment do I still own? So by and large, I've ended up with two sets of headphones that I really enjoy, and those are kind of my top tier headphones that, at least right now, are my end game. Now, are they going to stay that? I don't know. Using end game is a dangerous way to go because I'm just too darn curious and I'm always going to be trying new things. But the headphones that I landed on that I'm going to keep for the foreseeable future anyway are a couple of sets of Focal headphones. So I picked up the Allegia as I was, hunting for closed back headphones, and I liked them so much that I ended up picking up a set of Illiers as well. And I really can't say enough positives about the Focal headphones. It seems like a great company. The headphones are amazing, and I'm thoroughly enjoying both sets. They are rather expensive. It's hard for me to recommend them when, they cost so much money, but I would say that they are worth it if you have the money to spend. And certainly the Allegia, over any of the closebacks that I reviewed on the channel, I enjoy it much more, and I think it is a far technically superior headphone to any of those other ones. It is a little bit different and takes some getting used to, but it's a wonderful headphone, in my opinion. So yeah, the Focal headphones, I'm kind of a fanboy at this point in time with them. Maybe something will come along that'll replace them, but in all likelihood it might be another Focal. The only other headphone that's really on my list right now of something that I really, really want to try would be the Arias. But again, in the clears, but those are another tier up in price, and I just don't know if I'll get there or not. Maybe I will. But I was able to pick up both of my sets of Focals for around $400 each, which is reasonably good price for them. And largely, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but if you buy used, sell used, watch for really good sale prices, you can pretty much move through this hobby without losing a ton of money on buying and selling gear, as long as you find good deals to begin with. And so that would be one of the pieces of advice that I would give to you is certainly don't buy everything new. I mean, maybe if you got the money to burn, you could do that, but I have had really nothing but positive experiences dealing with people on Hi-Fi Guides forum or on Headfi. I've traded lots of headphones, bought and sold lots of headphones, and I honestly haven't ran into any problems. So if you're looking to try a bunch of things, that's one place that I would recommend that you start is buy used, sell used. You get to help other people out in the hobby that are looking to unload gear or looking to pick up gear, and you make a few connections along the way. So that's been a really positive experience for me. Anyway, back to the gear that I still have. My main listening source right now is a Modius Asgard 3 stack. Quite happy with it, and probably unlikely that I'll spend much more than that, although Bifrost 2 is, it's a step up in DAC, but again, can I justify that extra like $500 for it? It seems difficult to me. I did try out several other DACs and amps along the way, and I guess I'm kind of a shit fanboy at this point in time as well, so I really like all their gear, even their lower end stuff. I think to me sounds better than like similar offerings from say like Toping or Monoprice, but a lot of it comes down to preference, to be perfectly honest with you. So what I like might not be what you like. So I think, again, that's why I encourage you to maybe buy used, sell used, and try out several different things, and then you can find out what suits you, and you won't lose a lot of money along the way. Other things that I've landed on using, I picked up a set of K7XX headphones for super cheap used, and those are kind of like my secondary work headphones that, and I really like those as well. I think for, I bought mine for $50, but I mean for around $100 or something like that, I really like those as a choice. And then of course I'm keeping some of the cheaper gear that just doesn't really make sense to sell. So for instance, if I reach back here, we got the trusty old Porta Pros with the Axi pads on them, which you can't go wrong with for $20-$30. And so I've also got Belons and some KZ headphones. I've got a couple of sets of like just cheap wireless headphones that just work great. If I'm like mowing the yard or something, I just pop these in. Or if I'm just listening to like a podcast, just pop like one in and listen. So those are pretty handy to have around, and I only spent like $30 on those. I did try a nicer set, like the Sony noise canceling wireless MX-1003, whatever they are. I wasn't that impressed with them. I think, I've got a set of cheaper Soundcore Liberty Neos, and this is the KZ-S2, and I think both those sound just fine. And I've used the Soundcores I've had for like 2 years without any issues, and they isolate pretty good. So like I said, for like mowing the yard and things like that, I use those. The other devices that I picked up that I really like as well are the FIO BTR5, and I also have an Ear Studio Radstone ES100, which these are little like Bluetooth DAC amps, and basically you turn any set of headphones into a Bluetooth pair of headphones. Now, they don't have tons of power, but for lower impedance headphones, they work perfectly fine. And I was even listening to a 6XX on the BTR5 at one point, and I thought it worked fine. So that might be a place to start if you're looking for just like an entry DAC amp. Like the BTR5 is pretty excellent, to be honest with you. It does matter though, headphone pairings, and that's one thing that I've learned is like the K7XX, I like the ES100 with better. My Alears and Allegias, I like the BTR5 better. So amp pairings, they do matter. Is it important that you have an amp for every headphone or something like that? I don't think that's necessary, but it does make a difference. So if you have a headphone that you really, really like, but there's just something that you need to tweak a little bit, then I might encourage you to try a couple different amps, and maybe you can find one that syncs a little bit better with it. Might be something to look into. So that's pretty much the gear that I ended up with that I'm currently using. I will absolutely still be trying stuff, to be honest with you. I just tried the Sivga Phoenix after I heard great things about it. Was super impressed with the build of it. Thought it sounded good, but just I like my K7XX better for kind of a tier below my Focal stuff. So I ended up sending it back. I've got a AKG 371 on the way. that I'm going to try out for a closeback, just because that's like the last one on my list that I haven't tried. So I want to give it a shot, but I'm really slowing down on the things that I'm trying. I've got, in addition to my Asgard 3, I've got a Magni Heresy right now that I'm listening to. And again, for pairings, I really like it with my K7XX, whereas I don't like it as much with the Alliers. The Alliers I much prefer on the Asgard 3. The K7XX I don't like on the Asgard 3 as much. So that's the kind of stuff that I've been figuring out as I've been playing around with all of these things. But by and large, though, I think my main takeaway from doing all this is that there are very good headphones and amps and DACs at pretty much every price point at this point in time. We live in a wonderful time when it comes to like headphone audio, hi-fi audio. You can pick up gear that's very reasonable and have a wonderful listening experience. And you can pay, $10 a month for a streaming service, and you can have as much music as you could possibly listen to. So lessons I've learned along the way. First of all, a lot of it is preference. I know it's easy to hear reviews and think that somebody knows, more than you, and that they have great taste and they've heard every headphone on the planet, so you should probably listen to them. But your preferences and your ears are probably different from theirs, is the reality of the situation. So try to find a reviewer, I would say, that you like the things that they've suggested so far, and maybe stick with them, but it's not always going to sync up. So what I would say is that the best technical headphone, if it doesn't suit your preference, you're not going to like it. So you have to find out what you like, really. And what I would suggest is start off without spending a ton of money. Start off with like a set of Porta Pros, a set of KPH30Is, a set of the KC75s or whatever, and try out a few cheaper headphones, sub $100 headphones first. Try those out. Find the one you like, and then see what sound signature you like, and look what the upgrade to that is. Don't start off spending a bunch of money to begin with on somebody's recommendation, because it might not work for you. So that'd be one thing that I would suggest. I would suggest trying a couple of different things at once, right? So if you're trying to pick between two amps, buy them both, buy them used, give them each a good listen, pick the one you like, sell the other one, and then move on from there. So that would be another suggestion that I would make. And I would say don't try to compare like 6 headphones at once, which is kind of what I was doing. And again, it just became a burden, and it stopped being fun because I was like, I gotta listen to this one, I gotta listen to this one. It was just too complicated. So don't overwhelm yourself with gear. Enjoy what you've got, give it a good listen, try it against something else. Sell what you don't like, keep what you do, and move on. Don't get buried in gear and buried in reviews and buried in all that stuff. It's easy to do, but for me, it started just taking away from my personal enjoyment of the hobby. And, kind of on that same note, once you find something you like, feel free to just stop, There's always, always, always going to be something new coming out. It's going to get hyped. People are going to be excited about it. People are going to be pushing it. You're going to start seeing every reviewer saying it's amazing, right? But if you already like what you've got, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. I know like one thing that I noticed was I went from like a Toping D30 to an E30 just to see like if there was any difference. I couldn't hear any difference. I went from an E30 to the Modius, and I heard, just a very, very minimal difference in that regard. So a lot of these upgrades are very, very incremental. If you've got something at your price point that you like, just stick with it and don't sweat it, honestly. But if you want to give something else a listen, try it out. It's all about just you and your preferences. Don't get bogged down with other people saying you need to buy this or this is crap or whatever. Just do what feels right to you and don't feel pressure from anyone else in this hobby. It's all about your enjoyment and trusting your ears and finding what you like. And that would be where I would leave you. You know, I've been fortunate enough that I had a little bit of extra funds here that I was able to play around and experiment with a lot of different stuff. But like I said, in the end, it started becoming a burden, and I was just like, I just picked the stuff that I was enjoying, and I just sold everything else. Um, Again, I was fortunate in that I bought a lot of stuff used and got a lot of good deals. Amazon open box deals, like I said, used deals on Headphone, things like that, and locally. So um, you don't have to have a ton of funds to experiment with this hobby, and you know, don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money to enjoy it. Stay focused on the music. Stay focused on your enjoyment, and just go at your own speed, right? Don't try to listen to everything. Don't try to keep up with what's new. Just go at your own pace and enjoy yourself. That would be my biggest piece of advice. And that's how I'm moving forward in the hobby. So I'm probably honestly not going to make a ton of videos going forward. I will still be trying stuff out, and maybe I'll make a video from time to time. But I'm not going to try to keep up with product reviews for everything that comes out or everything that I listen to. It's just kind of like maybe if I have a revelation, or if I feel like I have something of value to add to the community, I'll make a video and share it. So if that sounds good to you and you're not expecting a whole lot or a weekly video or anything like that, feel free to subscribe, and you know, I'll put stuff out there when I get it. But until then, enjoy your own journey, trust your own ears, and just have fun with it. So I hope you got something out of that. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate anybody that's engaging with the channel or commenting on the stuff that I've made. So I will continue to respond and answer questions as best I can as they come in. So, peace.